Right, we're now up to version 1.0.3.3, which is a couple of versions up from the last time I made a video. There's been several important changes, not least is that I won't be using the funny ripples effect to show you where I've clicked. I've actually invested in some software called Phone Finger, which actually appears as a finger and makes a funny little tapping movement that I hope will show you where taps have occurred. Okay, so I'm going to start a new session, and one of the important things is here we've got now a new area here, and you can see this area has been made grey here, so it's not outlined in a line, but it indicates something that you can enter text into. So this could be a label, a case name, an individual's name, or it could be a context for this scale here. So it could be when I'm at school, my feeling of anxiety. When I'm at home, my feelings of comfort, and so on. The important thing is that it became very clear that double tapping just didn't work for many children. So we now have a changed system of editing text. If you touch on an area that can have text in it, it will change color. If you hold, then the keyboard will be invoked, and then that can become your label. The same for here. If I touch and hold, up comes the keyboard. Well, let's put a real one in here. Let's put relax. Ooh, isn't as easy as it looks. Okay, and then you can create the scale in the normal way. Let's have a mount. And this is the standard VAS scale, where this isn't an object that holds any intrinsic meaning other than indicating the place on the scale. These still hold the text label, person, objects and images. This is still being demonstrated on the iPad simulator from Apple, so you can't activate the camera. When you run it on a real iPad, there's a little camera icon there that allows you to take pictures of the iPad, and then they can become elements that are arranged along this scale here. Okay, the other thing that's very important is that once you've got a scale that you like, or you've got a result that you like, you can actually, if I can find a hotspot, save as a template. Now if I go back to the starting screen, you can see that the last session appears here, as has always been the case. It also appears in there we go. It also appears among the saved sessions. But because I specifically saved it as a template, it appears here. There's my template there, that can be saved for future use. So if you have a particular assessment that you might want to repeat with different individuals, then you can create it, save it here, and then restart at any time. I'm not going to restart this one. I'm going to choose this one here, and you will see that there is two options: either as previewed, in other words those figures will be where they appear on that little thumbnail, or reset to origin, and that would mean that on a unipolar scale both those elements would appear at this end of the scale. If this was a bipolar scale, all the elements would be piled up in the middle, the kind of neutral point, and from there can be moved outwards. We'll take it as previewed, and you can see that this is at least part of the scale that we've got that is used in the the standard induction procedure that you can access from a PDF, the link for which will appear below this video. And the story in the PDF relates to Paul and Leonie, and they can be moved. They can be picked up and moved in accordance with the process of the story unfolding, which gives you a very clear idea both whether a child is capable of using a visual analog scale, or perhaps capable of using it in a fairly basic way, that they either stick to these cardinal points or they tend to use the extremes. And the final bit at the end of the standard happiness induction procedure, that sounds quite good fun, is whether Paul perceives Leonie's relative unhappiness when she drops her ice cream. And it's very interesting that some children do change Paul's mood, happiness level, in response to Leonie's distress. Older children do, and most younger children don't. But it's useful to have an individual assessment that gives you an indication. Okay, as ever, we very much welcome feedback, and we don't think there's going to be more than one or at most two prototype versions before the final software is launched. So if you think you've got something to offer, then do get it in so we can make sure that we include your feedback in the version that's submitted to the Apple iTunes Store. Cheers, thanks for listening.